Hello guys. So we are preparing for bed, and as we are winding down, it has been a while since I have been on here, and I'm not gonna front, I have been just in my family heaven. Like, I have really been enjoying being home with the kids for summer break. I did go back to just work a little bit, but for the most part, I have been home with them and thoroughly enjoying it. So I thought with this video that I would come back on and just really, she turned 5 months yesterday. So give a 5-month update and do the labor and delivery story in one video. So I guess I will start with the labor and delivery video first, and then just give y'all an update on how she's doing now that she's 5 months. So close your eyes and picture the scenery. But okay, so the day that I went in labor, I don't remember the exact date, but my job did us, or me, a surprise baby shower. So we were always going to have a meeting, a faculty meeting. We have one every, like, once a month on a Tuesday or something like that. So whatever, it was more than likely on a Tuesday, but this particular one was on professional development day. So all the kids got out at 12. And so after that, we went to lunch at a local Mexican restaurant. And now, just to mind you guys, they did mention that, you know, oh, it would be so fun to give you a baby shower, but I wasn't due until June. They gave me this I wasn't due until June. This happened February. So we'll stick there, follow me. So after the kids let out, we all meet up at the Mexican restaurant. And so my principal, she's going over all of the things that need to be addressed in the meeting and how everyone is doing. And I'm starting to see people, as she's talking, I'm seeing people come in with just like cards and stuff. No real big gift that I could see so far, but like cards and like gift bags. And I'm like, did I miss the memo of something? Is something going on? Did I miss something? And so my principal goes, yeah, you didn't get the email. It's Mr. So-and-so, one of the teachers. It's his birthday. And I'm like, oh my God, no, I didn't get it. And I'm feeling horrible, right? Like, I didn't bring this man anything. Like, I brought him no gifts. And so they were like, you know, it's okay, you know, just bring it tomorrow, and it's fine, right? So I'm like, okay. So they go back to the meeting, and after that, the sweetest person ever, one of my coworkers, I'd known her for forever, and so she's the one who goes around and she plans all the things you do for people. Like, she'll plan birthday surprises for people, or just anything sweet dealing with a coworker. She does it. So she stands up and she says, so this is not a birthday celebration, this is your baby shower, and just like going into all the kind things, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, this is for me. And so I just felt elated, and just so, it was nice. It was a nice thing.
Mom, where's my chicken nuggets? Hi.
Yeah. But after that, you know, she comes and she just, you know, and I'm just so grateful, and I'm sitting there just in shock because I had no clue. Like, yeah, they said that, you know, we want to throw you a baby shower, but I had no idea that would be in February. But I got so much stuff: diapers, wipes, just money, whatever you know, gift cards, you name it. They were so sweet, and they, were nice enough to do those things for me. And if I could just plug this in, I had only been there a few months. So I thought that it was very, very nice that everybody was being so nice and kind and looking out for me and my baby, having us this baby shower. It was very nice. Um, so we wrapped lunch up, and after lunch, we go clock out, come home. So I get home, all of the gifts and stuff is in my car. So I think I grabbed one bag, which wasn't a heavy bag at all. Grabbed about one to two bags, not heavy. I live up steps. I live on the top floor of my apartment complex. And so I get up here. My brother was in here. I'm staying with my son after school. So my brother's here, and I ask him, can you help me get the rest of the things out of the car? And so he goes on down. I come in to use the bathroom first before going back down and see if I can help him with anything else. And so I go in the bathroom, use it, I'm done. Ladies, you know that feeling. You're done. I stand up to, wipe myself. While I wiped, I stand up and water just pours out of me. I mean, it is just pouring. I'm like a faucet at this point. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I know I was done peeing. Like, what is that? I immediately, y'all, after that, I'm just in shock. And after that, what do you do? What do you do, ladies, when something crazy happens? I immediately call my mama. Yes, I did. So I call my mom, like, Mom, I don't know what's going on. Like, I think my water broke, but it's too early. Like, do I call the doctor? And I think I need to go to the doctor. And she was like, you know what? Call up there, calm down, call, see what they say. So I called my doctor, which is an hour away. My doctor that I was seeing is an hour away. I call up there. I speak with the nurse or the receptionist, whoever answered the phone, and they told me that they would have the labor delivery nurse or OB nurse call me back. Anyways, a nurse was gonna call me back. Hang up immediately, like almost immediately. She called back, and I explained the situation to her. I used the bathroom, stood up, water's everywhere, and she said, you need to go to the emergency room to make sure that your water has or has not broken. She said, you need to go there immediately. So I hang up from her, I get in my car, go to the emergency room. Didn't even think of, because her dad was at work, so I didn't even think, nothing. I grabbed my keys, got in the car, and I drove myself. And I contemplated, as I got to the end of the little road, I contemplated, do I go to my doctor or should I just go to the local hospital that we have here? Now, it's not the best. Our local hospital is not the best. So I said, you know what? I think that driving an hour away when I think my water has broken is just not the best or safest decision. I was almost about to make that ride. But I said, you know what? Let me just go here first. So I get to our local hospital, go in there, talk to the lady at the front desk. I explained the situation. I think my water has broken. I called my doctor, and they told me to come to the emergency room. Now, she was so sweet. She was sweet. She called up to labor and delivery, and she said, do I sign her in to the ER or do I send her up to you guys in the labor and delivery? Now the lady on the other end said, first she said, sign me in to the emergency room. And I'm like, well, okay. I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and I'm the only person in there. And then she called back, whomever she was speaking to in the labor and delivery department. And she said, well, no, send her up here. Okay, so someone comes to get me, but it was no emergency situation. You know, I still sat there for a little bit. So they come get me, take me up to labor and delivery, and I get up there. They give me the gowns or whatever to change into and stuff. And so I get in the bathroom, I'm changing, and as I'm changing, more water is coming at me. And I called the nurses in there. Um, it took them a little minute to get in there. Her dad had came out, and he peeked in there. And I called him. I'm like, I'm calling this name, and I'm like, look. And he looks. He's like, oh my god. Okay, they came in, and at this point I'm back in the bed. He helped me to the bed. At this point I'm back in the bed, and as I'm on the bed, more water is coming out of me. And so I'd already explained to the nurses in the room what was going on, and then when that started happening to me on the bed, I caught their attention, and I was like, look. And that's when they saw it. It was like, oh yeah, it's just still the water was still coming out of me. Okay, so the doctor comes in, and she checks me. They have me hooked up to all of the monitors and all the things by now. She checks me, and for sure my water broke. So at this point, she's explaining to me how there's no barrier between me and this baby anymore. Like, there's nothing keeping us apart, at any point. I can get an infection. She can get an infection. It's just dangerous, and it's high risk at this point, right? Because at any moment she can come out. And so they started me on meds, and she was just contemplating for a while of, oh my God, what do we do here? Like, what was the safest route for me, right? Do I stay there, take my chances at this hospital, or do they transport me an hour away? And in this time, as she's going through all the risks and all of the scary parts, y'all, at one point she started telling me about, and it was, she was trying to comfort me, and I get it. Then she started telling me about her friend, and how her friend had a preemie baby, but the baby went blind. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if this is helpful. But the baby went blind. I'm just like, at that point I break down. Like, I start bawling, crying. Like, I could not help it. Like, I could not hold it in anymore, and I'm just a mess, right? I'm a wreck. And so after sitting there for a little while, she came to the conclusion that the best possible decision to make in that time would be to transport me an hour away to another hospital, which was safer because at our local hospital there's no NICU. So had they delivered my baby there was no equipment there to really take care of her. And so they called the ambulance and all the people who are responsible for transporting you, and they put me, they lifted me up on the sheet and put me onto like a transport bed, and the ambulance people came in and they transported me by ambulance. And the doctor, this is how I knew like it was like severe. The doctor rode with me from my local hospital all the way on the ambulance ride to the hospital that I delivered at, which was an hour away. And so the whole ambulance ride to that hospital, y'all, I am freaking out. I am like scared. But talking to them like comfort me. And I discovered like, oh my God, more people. Okay, mama. Okay, mama. See one more meal? This happens to more people probably than not. There was a guy on there telling me about his daughter who went into labor early. Both his daughters were preemie babies, so it was kind of encouraging but still scary. And so after the ride, we get there, and I'm, checked in and all the things. I didn't have to wait. Like, he literally held up that paperwork and was like, we need to get through. So I was grateful for that. So I get there, the nurse practitioner comes into the room. And they did say, we're gonna do the best that we can, prepared to be here for a while. I was prepared to be there for a while. um and so they had started me on magnesium, and I was on a lot of medication because of one, I'm at risk of going into I was in labor. They just kind of stopped it. And two, there was no barrier between me and her, so they was doing the best that they could to keep down infection, which I understood that. So in my mind, I'm gonna be here a while, right? And so I get up to the room. I'm in the room. Oh, babish. My doctor came in, and at the previous hospital, they put a catheter in me because I couldn't get up to walk or any of that. And so they put a catheter in me. My doctor informed me it would stay that way. They would leave that catheter in. I couldn't get up to walk. I could not eat when I got there, any of that. I couldn't even eat. Talk about hungry. Woo. And so she explained that to me. I could not move, right? And so I was there a day. I think the next day, I got there on a Friday. No, I got there on like a Tuesday or something like that. And so the next day, so another doctor comes in, and I'd been there a few days by this point, or a couple of days at this point. And then another doctor comes in and takes over, and I met him that morning, and I didn't see him anymore until that night when all hell breaks loose, right? So he ordered, because I felt like, I don't know, like I was peeing out of the catheter. I'd been there for a little bit at this point, a few days or a couple of days at this point. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I just need a new catheter, because I felt like water leaking out of it, or when I was using it, it was coming out on me. Okay, so the nurse said, I'll go and I'll speak to him, I'll talk to him. Guys, he ordered for her to take the catheter out. He told me I can get up at that point, walk. They stopped the medication. I can get up and walk. So I'm just taking myself to the bathroom. And I'd say about 8 o'clock that night is when I started to hurt just so bad. I am in the worst pain. So I start telling them, like, I'm really not feeling well. I'm having contractions. I'm feeling contractions. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm having. And they kept telling me, hold please. All right. So, yes. I'm letting them know, like, I'm feeling contractions. I'm definitely having contractions. And they keep telling me that I'm not. Oh, we don't see it on the screen. That's just diversions from the baby, just like everything in every way. They kept telling me that I'm not contracting, like I'm not feeling what I'm feeling, right? And this goes on back and forth for hours. And then I'm the young lady that comes in, and I'm telling her, like, I am in like a lot of pain. And at one point he ordered them to give me not an epidural but some kind of medication that, y'all, it made me so like drowsy. but I was in so much pain. I literally couldn't go to sleep, but I knew I was kind of out of it. And at this point, I'm by myself in this hospital. Her dad, he'd come up with me, but he went home to get some rest. So I'm alone. I'm by myself, and I didn't call my mom and say, "Can you come switch and come up here with me?" Um, I honestly didn't even know that that would happen that night. Like, that's the type of thing you don't expect. But at every turn, like, I felt like no one was listening to me. And it's multiple nurses in there, like multiple nurses in and out. And I with my son, I didn't have this issue at all. I had my son in the same hospital. It was great, right? So they're just so busy telling me like I'm not experiencing what I know I'm experiencing. I've had a baby before, and I kept saying that. No, no, it's just diversions from the baby, or we don't see any contractions on the monitor. Again, we went back and forth on that for hours. And so finally, I'm feeling this baby like starting to push down. Ladies, if you had a baby, you know what it feels like when you need to push to the point where she was coming. She was literally coming. I'm seeing the fluids run down as I'm feeling her, lower herself. She's coming. And so this is the last call I made to a nurse. And I literally said, I need to push. Now, I've not seen a doctor again since he came to introduce himself to me, right? And so one nurse comes in, and she's in no hurry. But then I say, then I tell her, I feel like, I need to push. This baby is coming. I need to push. And so they were afraid to check me. But I think she did check me one time before. And I understood, there's no barrier between me and the baby, raises the risk of infection. So at this point, she checks me. And this baby, now let me plug right here. The doctor at the hospital, at my local hospital, checked me, and I was about 3 centimeters dilated. Yes, I was 3 centimeters dilated when she checked. And then when the young lady checked me at the hospital that I was transported to, she said that I was about the same. Now, when she came back that final time and she checked me, I could see it on her face, right? She threw that glove in that trash so fast and it had blood on it. She felt my baby's head. And she was like, I'm going to go get the doctor. I do feel the head. And she got up out of there. And the doctor, when they got back, he came in a little frantic. Like, I could see it on his face, like he's a little frantic. And you don't look comfortable. You look afraid. I'm immediately afraid, right? So I deliver 2 pushes, literally 2 pushes. She was out. Now, she's already out. Now I'm gonna tell you, she was a preemie baby. She came early. The NICU and all the people, they should have been in there way ahead of time. But because no one believed me, she was down for a little bit before they got in there. But I'm gonna tell you, immediately, now I have to say, immediately when the NICU people and all that got in there, they did start on her. But she was down for a little bit because they weren't in there prepped and ready, because no one believed that I was in labor. So they're over there working on her. I don't hear crying. I don't hear whining. I don't hear any of that. And I am scared out of my mind, okay? And mad. So mad. So mad. And my doctor, he'd delivered my placenta. Like, we were done. He could have left, right? But he sat in a chair I'll never forget the look on his face. He sat in that chair and he watched them as they worked on her. And time is going by, like time is going by, and there was a nurse practitioner, the NICU actual doctor hadn't made it yet, and the nurse practitioner for her comes over, and she tells me like, oh, she's been down for a while. Do we have your permission to take all measurements, do everything? You know, it sounded like she was close to giving up. Like that's what it sounded like to me. Like she was close to giving up on her. And I'm like, yes, do everything that you can. And so they called the doctor, the NICU actual doctor, to see how far out he is. And I heard him on the phone. He was like, or in the parking lot. He was like, I'm in the parking lot. I'm in the parking lot. And they kept working on her, trying to get her in the. I don't think that they were really prepared for how tiny she was, because he told me, you know, after he got in there and worked, you know, he was having a hard time getting the tube down her airway because it was a little too big. So they did the best they could with what they had, but when they got her in there, they would switch. And so they did. And they got her situated, got it in, and they immediately rolled her to the NICU. And after recovering for or leaving me, you know, in the, as I'm playing this back, I want to point out, and I'll probably pop it in, this is me in the future, I want to point out, after everything settled, once everything settled, and, you know, everybody went to their respective places, and I was basically recovering, I asked the nurse who was there, and the one I told you I stuck her hand up me to see if I was dilated. Something told me just that doctor was in the on-call room the entire time. He was on call, so it clicked for me. And I asked her, I look up at her and I ask her, I mean, I'm upset, you know, understandably, I'm upset. And I said, he was in the on-call room the entire time, wasn't he? She said, yes. She said, well, you know, and we were also having to, at one point, he basically had to go to another delivery, right? I didn't buy it, but even if so, you could have at least come to just peep in and check on me. He was literally in the on-call room the entire time. Inconsiderate. Position, you have to stay there for a little bit, and after about an hour or two of delivering, they took me to the postpartum ward, and that's where I stayed until they discharged me. But of course she had to stay in there. Y'all, just, this is the type of thing, you know, you hear about on the TV, but, and I know my story is not as worse or as bad as a lot of women who experience worse in this country. And for those of you who are new, I live in America. I live in Alabama, but, you know, I live in America. And the rates of Black women dying or losing their lives in delivery is awful. And if you're not familiar with it, Google it a little bit. A lot of pop up, right? And so it's just, it's scary, right? And I was there alone. But no one, and I understand, no one could have pictured it to go the way it did. And I'm telling the story months later, but it still feels like, oh my God, like that was the scariest thing, right? Especially seeing my baby over there, and it's nothing I could do. Like, it is nothing I could do. Do I feel like some things could have been prevented, her being down so long? Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like Beck could have had the proper lines of communication, or even listen to me. Listen to me, hear what I'm saying, believe me. Believe me when I tell you I'm in labor. I need to, I feel her. I'm contracting. Not your monitor, not your screens. Believe me when I say this is happening. You know what I mean? Um that part was awful. Now, our experience in the NICU, great. We had a hiccup, but overall, I would say great. But it was scary, and I hope that this just, if anything or nothing else, just have more women be able to advocate for yourself. Like, I was really talking to people about having a doula with me or a midwife, but I didn't even get to look into it because I went into labor so early. But learn to advocate for you, speak up for you. You know what I mean? But we are in a much better space now. She is home, and she is 5 months, and a hungry 5 months, a greedy 5 months, because I just gave her some of it. She might not cooperate, but we're getting ready for bed. And her little shirt says, "Dream big, little one." And this has been an amazing month, just having her home. And would I do it all over again for her? I would, for her. But it has been just great. Having her here, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. She's 5 months today. She is full of personality, just full of personality. Already, she cools. You put her down on tummy time, she works her little legs, and she's smiling. The journey's not over. As you guys know, we still go on doctor appointments, visits, and I have to keep a check on her. But overall, she is doing really, really good, and I'm so grateful for that. And she likes to eat. That's another thing. She loves her brother. Like, she adores her brother. And she is attached to Mama's hip. Say we like Gracie's Corner. She loves Coco Melon. Like, it captures her little attention and keeps it. But the word of the day is just gratitude. I'm grateful for the journey. And I wouldn't trade any of it for this precious soul. For this precious soul. Oh, I know that this video is lengthy and little girl is getting cranky. So we are going to go on and go to bed. But thank you all for your prayers. Thank you all for your wishes. And I just wanted to take a little time for my children. But we are back at it, you guys. School starts back in about 2 or 3 more weeks, so I'm about to be back in full swing at work. But we are gonna say good night, and if she doesn't get mad at me, say thanks for watching. Say thanks for watching. Say thanks for watching. Say we will see you in the next video. Yeah, I think she's hungry and ready to go to bed. Good night, y'all. Say good night. Say good night. She is like, where's my bottle? Okay. Good night, guys.